Picture yourself visiting your uncle, who has recently awakened from a coma after a long 17-year period. However, upon seeing him, you are taken aback as he starts speaking incoherently. Allow me to introduce Takafumi and his uncle, Yosuke. Yosuke claims to have spent the past 17 years in an alternate world called Grand Bahamo. Takafumi is initially skeptical, thinking his uncle must have suffered mental damage during his coma. Sensing his disbelief, Yosuke tries to prove his claims by performing magic. He utters chants in a peculiar language, but to Takafumi's disappointment, nothing happens. Takafumi attempts to discuss his own financial struggles and inability to support Yosuke, but suddenly, his uncle triggers a wind spell while speaking in Japanese. It is then that Takafumi realizes his uncle was telling the truth about his adventures in another world. Yosuke, being a nerd, inquires about the ongoing console wars and how Sega is faring. He becomes distressed when he learns that Sega no longer manufactures consoles. Quickly, he scribbles something in his notebook and casts a spell called Akira's Kora. Takafumi is curious about this spell, and his uncle reveals that it erases memories whenever he experiences something unbearable. However, Yosuke writes it down in his notebook before casting it. Instead of erasing the memory, Takafumi requests to read the notebook, but immediately regrets it as he breaks down in tears. He then asks his uncle to use Akira's Kora on him. A week later, Yosuke is discharged from the hospital and moves in with Takafumi. Meanwhile, Takafumi decides to monetize his uncle's powers by posting videos of them on YouTube, generating some ad revenue. Later, Yosuke questions Takafumi about why he lives alone in such a spacious apartment. Takafumi explains that it was initially meant for room sharing, but it didn't work out. Yosuke is surprised by the concept of room sharing, which he had never heard of before. Nevertheless, he's glad that Takafumi found friends to live with. Takafumi asks his uncle about his companions in the other world, to which Yosuke informs him that he was mostly alone for the past 17 years. Everyone in the other world considered Yosuke a monster due to his appearance and constantly hunted him down. Yosuke mentions one person in particular who frequently followed and harassed him. Although Yosuke saved her life, she was rude to him instead of showing gratitude. As Yosuke continues discussing this person, Takafumi realizes that she actually had feelings for his uncle, but the concept of understated affection didn't exist 17 years ago. Yosuke shifts his attention to the comments on his YouTube videos, where one viewer accuses him of faking his powers. Yosuke struggles with the internet and dealing with haters. For the first time, one day, Yosuke expresses interest in buying a vintage cell phone from an auction. Takafumi advises against it, explaining that it only supports a 2 signal. However, Yosuke is determined to obtain it, marveling at the innovation of smartphones. While reminiscing about the lack of such gadgets in his time, Yosuke mentions how he once innovated an item in the other world and demonstrated its power using a crafted spell. He created an everlasting water pouch using magical cards for a village suffering from drought. Takafumi is impressed and imagines that the villagers must have praised Yosu. However, the reality is far from it. The villagers considered it sacrilegious and attempted to hang Yosu. In the midst of the chaos, an elf arrives to intervene. While the elf tries to mediate the situation, Yosuke seizes the opportunity to escape. Takafumi is astounded by the elf's adorable appearance. And that concludes our video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting adventures with Takafumi and Yosu. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.